Reddit, what is your best I'm not even sorry moment? The summer between 8th and 9th grade, all my friends were smoking a ton of weed and drinking almost every night. There were only 2 of us that weren't, and it was clearly getting worse and worse as the summer went on. My cousin was the only girl in the group and was getting deep into a group that was no good for her outside our initial group of friends. She was a straight student, great personality and beautiful girl, but I knew if she stayed on that path that'd all go away. Drinking and weed doesn't sound bad, but when you're in 8th grade, it is. She went from nice, smart girl to smoking weed, drinking every day, having sex, and all of this in a house full of older guys. Towards the end of the summer, I was finally starting to get really scared for her. I love her like a sister and didn't want her going down that path. The final straw came when she asked me to borrow money for weed and I refused. She got really pissed and ran off. I went inside and made an extremely tough decision to rat her out. All the kids got in trouble, hated me for telling on them, and I lost a few friends for about a year. She asked me to apologize for it, and I always refused. She's now happily married, made Dean's List in college, and is a elementary school teacher. I'm proud of the decision I made and wouldn't change it, even though it really sucked to be the asshole at the time. When I was waiting tables, this family kept letting their kids run around like maniacs. I told the parents, please keep your children under control. Waiters come through the aisles with hot food and I wouldn't want any accidents to happen. I got a dismissive wave. About 10 minutes later, one of the little bugger trips on his shoelaces and smacks his forehead on a booth. I'm not even sorry. In my college dorm, I was doing my laundry and set the dryer time for 50 minutes. I came down 50 minutes later to find my still wet laundry in my basket and somebody else's laundry in my dryer, with 80 minutes remaining, which means that the asshole saw that my laundry had roughly 30 minutes left in the dryer. Instead of finding another dryer for myself or that dickhead, I took their laundry back out and threw it into a washer for 40 minutes, the standard time, and put my clothes back in the dryer for 30 minutes. Not even sorry. In the middle of a family holiday, my really outspoken aunt was giving me shit about being young, immature, and not having to take care of myself. I was a junior in college and living off loans and, when they could, the generosity of my parents at the time. She was saying things like, well, I had my own house and a job by the time I was your age. Blah, blah, blah. I have a temper, which I usually keep on tight hold at family functions. But when she spit out, you don't have to worry about anything. I was married and raising 2 girls at your age. I snapped back, and how did that work out for you? Her husband ended up cheating and left her. Everyone was shocked and watched us in silence until she quietly sat back and said, good point. She's been really nice and supportive to me ever since. I was husky in middle school. Tall for my age and slightly overweight. As such, I was picked on a lot. In gym we were doing wrestling. I was paired up against a very athletic kid who picked on me constantly. He made some remark to me that pissed me off, then made the mistake of trying to tackle me at the waist. I stood there unmoved for a second, then leaned forward, lifted up my feet, and dropped all of my weight on him. He slammed into ground with all the fat he made fun of on top of him. This knocked the wind out of him, and I pinned him quickly. Some kid was throwing banana peels at the kid next to me on the bus. A bunch hit me, and the 2 of us just decided to take it. That was until he threw a whole banana at us. It barely missed us, but I picked that bitch up off the ground and hurled it back with as much force as I could. It smacked him in the forehead, splattering all over his hat and headphones. In college, I used to work at the computer center's help desk. This was back before everybody and their dog had their own laptop, so the university provided machines for general use. Anyway, we had a contingent of non-student hangers-on who frequented the computer center because, well, they were the worst, most stereotypical examples of inner life, unwashed, role-playing nerds. One time, this one guy, a well-known and recognized example of his species, comes up and asks if I have a calculator he can borrow. I figure no big deal. He's in the place all the time. So I loan him my calculator, a nice scientific calculator which was basically top of the line from the pre-graphing calculator era. Besides, it's got my name etched on the back because of that time I lost my calculator in high school, so why not? My shift ends. I walk up to him and say I have to go. Can I get my calculator back? He says, can I borrow it until tomorrow? I figure, hey, the guy's at the computer center all the fucking time. It's not like he's not going to be here tomorrow. So I say sure. And yes, I was young and naive. Next day comes. He shows up. I ask him for my calculator. He looks straight at me with his soulless beady eyes and says, what calculator? The one you borrowed from me yesterday. I didn't borrow a calculator from you. This being basically the balsiest, most utterly bald-faced lie anyone had ever told me, and me not expecting that response, it caught me kind of flat-footed. But there wasn't much I could do, so I left. Fast forward a month or so. Same jackass shows up in the computer room in my dorm, stinking up the place with his unwashed smoker stench. He hangs out, plays games on the mainframe using some other student's stolen account and password, tries to pick up chicks on Nike, yada yada, then leaves. And leaves his backpack behind. I go through his backpack, looking for my damn calculator. It's not there, of course. What is there, though, is a nice felt pad with a shitload of gaming dice. Which is cool, since I played D&D with a bunch of guys in the dorms on Saturdays. So I snag the dice, stash them in my room, and leave the backpack. Next day he comes back, looking for his scummy satchel. It's right there. He's relieved to find it. He looks through it, gets that befuddled "where's my shit?" look on his face. He scans the room, sees me. He asks, "Where's my dice bag?" I look him square in the face and say, "What dice bag? I played D&D 4 years with those dice. And I'm totally not even sorry." When I was working at an airsoft field, we had parties come in all the time. One party, the birthday kid was being a total dick to his friends, shooting really close, not calling hits, and yelling that he hit people when he never did. So me and my coworker had had enough of this kid being a dick. So we decided to let the boss son play. He's really competitive, doesn't really know how to take it easy, but on the opposite team. We told him to be really tough on the birthday kid for a game or two to teach him a little lesson. However, the boss son just went nuts after the birthday kid shot him in the back of the head really close. Typically, you tell someone to surrender, and they just go back to respawn. Needless to say, the boss son get really pissed, and just let the kid up point blank, full auto. The birthday kid started bawling, and the party left early. My boss just asked if he was being a pounds, little bastard, and when we said yes he just shrugged. None of us gave a damn. Once, I spent a summer teaching English to middle schoolers in Korea. My mode of transportation was a small 50cc moped. One day, on my way to school, I saw someone fling a plastic bag full of trash out their car window. I stopped to pick up the filth and stuff it back into the bag, marveling at how much trash this punk thought was okay to dump out on the side of the road. This was a very pristine and more rural part of the country. Urging my scooter as fast as it would go, I caught up to the car, now sitting at a red light. Curiosity got the best of me, and I couldn't help but look over to see what this Seibelseki looked like. To my surprise, I saw two punk-ass white kids who, upon seeing me peer into their car, started chanting "Ching Chong Ling Long." In a state of righteous fury and embarrassment, I untied the trash-filled bag and hurled it through the open passenger window. Go litter in your own damn country. I was a serious student in high school, and the kid in front of me was being loud and obnoxious during a regents test. He was tipping his desk backwards the whole time. So finally I kicked the back legs of it, and the whole desk and him flipped over. He got in trouble, and had to sit somewhere else for the rest of the test, and I got a good grade. Not sorry. I was at Sonic and this girl brought my food out. She had bright blonde hair with tons of makeup. The girl looked way spoiled, and when she brought my food out she had this real bad attitude. I tipped her fairly well, around $5, and she says, "Seriously? That's all you're going to tip?" I respond, "Oh goodness, did I hand you a 5? I'm sorry, here let me get that back and fix this." She hands the bill back, I roll up the window, put the car in reverse, and drive off. I had a roommate who would never contribute beer or booze to parties. All of my guests would, and he would always drink the most expensive shit there. Whenever he bought booze, he would keep the bottle in his room so no one else would drink it. One day, he was given a giant bottle of Johnny Walker from his parents. I took it, bought a $6 bottle of ass scotch. After multiple containers, had a full bottle of Johnny Walker in a deceptively shitty bottle. And his Johnny was now a custom blend. Back in middle school, I was in an honors math class. There were always the kids who you wondered, how the hell are they even in here? This year was no exception. For the first few tests, I noticed this one girl who'd always be looking over my shoulder. I figured, alright, maybe she's just looking at one question. That was until I started noticing that she would always get the same grade as I did. One day, I decided to put a stop to it. The teacher would eventually notice, and I'd likely get in trouble as well. So when the tests went out, I filled out my answers as usual, making sure she got all of them. She gets up, turns hers in, and then I start erasing everything on mine, filling in the bubbles with the correct answers I had stashed on my scratch paper. Next day, we get them back, and I've got a high mark, and she gets a 0. She was confused as fuck, never caught on, and never cheated off of me again. On Halloween when I was in the 6th grade, my mom and I were at a function at my elementary school. There was an assembly and after that everybody was released to attend the fall festival, which included games and a haunted house and all that. We noticed throughout the night seeing this kid a few years younger than me and his mom walking around. Every time we saw them, mom was berating the kid, telling him he wouldn't be able to win at any games, and he was a loser and she didn't know why she even brought him, since he was filled with so much suck. Finally, towards the end of the night, bitch mom was sitting on a bench waiting for her kid to finish the cakewalk. My mom walked over next to her and pretended to read a poster on the wall. As she's reading, she inches closer and closer to bitch mom and lets out a silent fart that smelled so bad it should have burned off bitch mom's nostril hairs. I see bitch lady get up, throw my mom a disgusted look, grab her kid and take off. My mom turned to me, smiled, and went on like nothing happened. As a teenager, I went through the spiky jewelry phase. I was also a band nerd, and one year, our concert band attended a competition, where the award ceremony was to take place on a formal dinner cruise. I, of course, paired my formal dress with a spiky cuff, and some Doc Martens. Naturally, I got some attention from other kids in other bands due to my unconventional appearance. This one pair of girls occupied themselves by wandering around after me for an hour, accidentally bumping into me. Then, my cuff caught on one's dress and ripped a huge gaping hole, exposing her midriff and instantly fraying the cheap fabric. She ran away crying. It wasn't intentional, but I don't have any guilt over the outcome. I have posted this story somewhere else. Sorry for the repeat, DO, and sorry for the wall of text. When I was a senior in high school, I was an advanced student in my piano class, and I was also the student aide, where I also had to help beginning students, because I was the most knowledgeable about musical theory in the Wildnet. There was a group of freshmen that consisted of 4 boys and 3 girls, all 1A potheads and posers. You know, like freshmen. I'm assigned to help them practice a musical for the final of the first semester. I tried to help them, but they made fun of me and my appearance, my teaching, flipped me off many times, and they began ditching class. Turns out they only took the class for the easy A. I warned them, it doesn't work that way, but lo and behold, they called me a bitch and ditched again. For the next 9 weeks, they hardly showed up to class, and when they did, I would try to help them on starting the musical piece they were assigned. Again dismissed and flipped off. I told my teacher and she tried to deal with them, but let's just say that even with the help of the disciplinary office, they did not change their ways. It was a week before finals and they decided to come back after their long absence. They started bugging and badgering me to help them, because it was too hard. My job at the end of the semester was to ensure that everyone practiced and work hard at perfecting their playing technique as well as practicing my own musical pieces. My job was not to drop whatever I was doing to help them work on something they should have started 9 weeks ago. It was impossible to cram everything like practice and musical theory in less than a week. I refused and I didn't bother helping them. I just let them fail. I was out at dinner with my cousin one night at a Chinese restaurant and his bitch girlfriend showed up who I hate. We were in the middle of eating appetizers, and I had ordered edamame. I was halfway through eating them, and I had a bowl of just the pods that I had ate the seeds out of next to the bowl of the fresh edamame. I always put the entire pods in my mouth and squeeze the soybeans out to eat them. Anyways, as she sat down, my cousin excused himself to use the bathroom. She then looks at the bowls of edamame, and not knowing what it was, nonchalantly picks one up and puts it in her mouth, chewing with a gross look on her face. She then proceeds to rudely tell me how gross they are, and who would eat something like this. She had put an already eaten pod in her mouth and swallowed it. I don't know why, but it felt so good watching her put her empty edamame pod full of my spit in her mouth and eating it. I wasn't even sorry. It was during private school in Chile, a place where a lot of douches go. We got to the basketball court first during break time. The basketball court is made so you could play soccer in it also, those 2-for-1 courts. Rich kids got mad that we were playing basketball first. While we were playing, King Douche, part of the douches who wanted to play soccer, started kicking the soccer ball at us. He kicked the ball 3 times. 3 times too many, and on the third it hit my friend on the head. I lost it. I looked at King Douche with the fury of God in my eyes, and he starts slitting his eyes to make fun of me. I mentioned BTW, and he started saying chink in Spanish. Oh no, now I'm possessed. I closed my fist and saw that my knuckles were turning white. Without thinking, I went to King Douche and punched him on his mouth. Falls to the ground, bleeding. Stands up again, punch him on his mouth. And yes, you guessed it, he stands up again and boom. Down again. At this point, his buddies are telling him not to stand up, and I could already feel that I was going to get gang rapped by the douche soccer players, but teachers intervened. I got suspended, and my dad asks me, why the fuck did you get suspended? In Korean, of course. It sounds much worse in Korean. I answered, King Douche needed some on-hand Korea lessons. Dad answers, oh, you need some medicine? And I say, no, Dad. King Douche does. King Douche was taken to the emergency room because he was bleeding, and I broke his jaw. I'm not even sorry.